Time now for the Educated Retirement Show with your host, Jay Kaplan. Jay discusses reverse mortgages and can answer your questions at 951-922-3532. Call lines are open at 951-922-3532. And now, here's Jay.
Well, welcome back, and thank you for being back here on the second hour of the Educated Retirement Show here on KMET 1490 on your dial, and there is an FM counterpart, and I don't remember offhand. Sean, where is that located on the dial, on the FM dial?
98.1.
98.1, and they're in process of getting stronger, right? So that there's more listening area. 98.1 FM, 1490 AM. So thanks for being back. And we were just getting ready to talk about another famous person's birthday around this time. And because we get into a lot of nostalgia because we're old. As Grandpa says, his show is for the 50 plus, mine's for the 80 plus. No, we try to make it, just entertaining, period. Entertaining to me anyway. So that's here's to everybody else. Samuel L. Jackson is 72 years old, born in 1948, just a kid compared to me. So Samuel Leroy Jackson is an American actor, we know, and producer. He's one of the most widely recognized actors of his generation and has appeared in over 150 films. Wow, that's a lot. So Samuel was born in Washington, D.C., and grew up in Chattanooga, Tennessee. He was raised by his mother, a factory worker, and later a supplies buyer for a mental institution. He was also raised by his grandparents. In his high school years, he played the French horn, piccolo, trumpet, and flute, because he was into music, in the school orchestra. After joining a local acting group to earn extra points in a class, he found an interest in becoming an actor. So in the 70s, Samuel began acting on stage and got parts in television films, and he moved from Atlanta, which is where he was at the time, to New York City, and continued to act on stage. He played a minor role in Scorsese's film Goodfellas and small roles over the next few years. He worked with Steven Spielberg in 1993's Jurassic Park and Tarantino's film True Romance. Now, Jurassic Park, I thought he had a really good role. He had a pretty large role and very different than some of the other kind of roles. So he's a good actor. And here he is as a youngin'. There he is with a tie, no less. And as he is maturing, what's in your wallet has not happened quite yet. Very snazzy, however. And more recognizable now. And this could be very recent. Hard to tell, but why not? And of course, we all pretty much know what he does look like, but there you go. So, Jurassic Park, I thought he played a really good part in it, kind of a counter to the other people in there, down to earth. True Romance is when Tarantino asked Samuel to star in Pulp Fiction. The role made him internationally recognized, and he received praise from critics. It was said that Samuel just about lights fires with his gremlin eyes and, oh, that's me, I thought, no, and transforms his speeches into hypnotic bebop soliloquies. I don't know about that, but I don't know that I would put it that way, but he is very good. He received a nomination for Best Supporting Actor in that film, and that would be Pulp Fiction. And I'm not sure why well, I guess there was only one main actor in there, which would have been Bruce Willis. But, anyway, Jackson has a clause in his contracts that allows him to play golf during film shoots. He has played international charity golf tournaments to assist in raising funds for children in South Africa, also supports soccer and basketball, as well as efforts to raise money to fight Alzheimer's. Good guy overall. Samuel Jackson will be receiving an Academy Honorary Award at the 12th Annual Governor's Award ceremony in January 2022. He will be receiving this award as well as Elaine May, wow, who is a writer-director, and she was Mike Nichols and Elaine May was they were a comedy group, and then, of course, got into making some great films. And actress Liv Ullmann, also part of that, and getting an award. Danny Glover will be presented with the Jean Hersholt Humanitarian Award at the same event for his charitable efforts. And we met him, and the director of the show met him at a place in downtown Los Angeles, the Little Easy, which unfortunately is permanently gone. I hope it doesn't stay that way, but what a great place for music. And it was so neat because it had like a really neat bar area up front. Then you went through this. What's that?
And the food was good.
The food was good. That zigzagging hallway that took you into like the speakeasy in the back. And some great music, but so be it. Samuel was an usher at Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s funeral and was once a New York high-rise doorman. So there you go. While growing up, Samuel's idol was Errol Flynn and dreamed about being a movie swashbuckler. He originally intended to become a marine biologist. We got a lot in common there in college before acting. He's a fan of Judge Judy, which we don't have in common, and a short list of Samuel Jackson's films. Ragtime, 1981, director Milos Forman, starring Mary Steenburgen, James Cagney, I believe it was Cagney's last role, and Pat O'Brien, film nominated for 8 Oscars. Now, I loved the book. I didn't love the movie quite as much because I'd read the book first, which had so much more going on in it that I missed not having it there in the film. But, those are the breaks. Die Hard, and I promise I don't remember him in Die Hard. It's been a while since I've seen this. We're up to what, Die Hard 12 now? I'm not sure exactly.
Probably.
But I don't remember him in it, do you? But he was in it, so I'm showing it to you. That was Die Hard 1988, directed by John McTiernan, and starred Bruce Willis. Film nominated for 4 Oscars. Okay, True Romance, which we mentioned before, directed by Tony Scott, and starred Christian Slater, Patricia Arquette, Dennis Hopper, Gary Oldman. Now, was that written by Tarantino?
Not sure.
Not sure. We have. Anyway. Christopher Walken looks like he was in it also. Val Kilmer was in
Dennis Hopper.
Gary Oldman, Brad Pitt, and there's that one. And directed by Tony Scott. So there you go. Jurassic Park, which we mentioned already, and I don't know that you need to see any of this.
I think you need to see these.
So we'll go through this pretty quickly here. Jurassic Park. And who doesn't love Jurassic Park? And actually, the first time they used, I think, a lot of that CG kind of stuff. But we have, as a special treat, these came from what, Burger King?
Yeah.
Burger King watches Jurassic Park. This is what? The Lost World. What do you think of that? Huh? Eat your heart out. Huh? What do you think? And there's the band, and it's got a dinosaur that moves around in some kind of liquid, and then the time is displayed on a digital readout, which I don't have batteries in it right now, or they wore out long ago. Here is a different dinosaur, same kind of thing, different band altogether. And what film is this from?
Jurassic Park.
This is Jurassic. No, this is The Lost World.
The Lost World.
So this was, I guess, a promotion from Burger King for Lost World.
Forgot we had them.
And we forgot we had them until we started looking them up. So that's pretty cool. I'm going to have to start wearing them. So Jurassic Park was 1993. Can you believe it was that long ago? Directed, of course, by Steven Spielberg, starring Sam Neill, Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, who I hope will start playing piano again live on Vermont Boulevard in Los Angeles on Wednesday evenings. And the film was nominated for 3 Oscars. Pulp Fiction, I don't think we need to remind too many people about that. Oh, this is the soundtrack. Vinyl, limited edition. Okay. It says 10 cents in the corner. But, and we, of course, know what is meant by Pulp Fiction, don't we? We've talked about it several times. We know what's inside that suitcase that glows. I won't explain it this time. I've explained it many times. If you want to talk about it, give me a call. You know the phone number. It's right there behind me. It is 866. What? Yeah, 866. You can't really see it on the thing. 866-955-2233. And we'll talk about where Pulp Fiction got its name. But we've talked about it several times on the show. Pretty cool. And it is a specific reason for that suitcase or briefcase glowing. So it starred John Travolta, Uma Thurman, and the film was nominated for 7 Oscars and won 1. Do you know what it won it for? Okay, well, it won 1. Unbreakable. I still think it's Tarantino's best film, and I don't know if it didn't win Best Film of the Year. It should have. Unbreakable, which I thought was one of the best of M. Night Shyamalan's films, because a lot of them didn't make it that well. But anyway, kind of a dark, but you can see how the glass is broken. And this is kind of cool here. 2 CDs, DVDs, a booklet, whatever. But this, to see that's got both pictures, both people. And these same guys seem to be working together in several films, different directors and whatever, but they seem to have some kind of a connection. Right. But I like that. I like this movie. Directed by M. Night Shyamalan, starring Bruce Willis. So that takes care of him. We've got an honorable mention to mention, and he was actually due to be mentioned last week, but we ran out of time. This happens sometimes. We runs out of time sometimes. And that is Richard Pryor. And Richard was nominated for 4 Primetime Emmy Awards and won 1. Nominated for 11 Grammy Awards and won 6. He starred in 38 films. Jerry Seinfeld called Pryor the Picasso of our profession. Pryor won the very first Mark Twain Prize for American Humor, the very first one, from the John F. Kennedy Center for the Performing Arts in 1998. And he is on Comedy Central's list of 100 greatest stand-ups of all time. I'd put him probably pretty close to the top of that, although there are some good ones. and was posthumously, but I guess I just don't want to say after they pass away because I'm getting older. Posthumously awarded the Grammy Lifetime Achievement Award in 2006. And here's a short list of Richard Pryor's films: Blazing Saddles, and we saw that. What do you got here? Something different? Well, let's show some pictures. Okay. Very, very, very recognizable, of course. And it's hard to think that he's gone because he left such an impression, I think. And there he is wondering why. Why did he? Well, that's part of the reason why, right there. Look at that punum, as we would say in our circles. Okay, so we talked about Mel Brooks and what a genius Mel is, and we showed those things. We don't need to show it again, but Blazing Saddles, and we know the sound effects that won over the hearts of so many people. And it starred Gene Wilder, Slim Pickens, and Cleavon Little. The film received 3 Oscar nominations. Silver Streak, 1979. Director was Arthur Hiller, starred Gene Wilder and Jill Clyburn, and the film was nominated for 1 Oscar for Best Sound. And love this movie too. I don't know how many times I've seen this. I'm a train freak, but other than that, this is still a very, very entertaining film, and you probably already know that. So. There you go. Nominated, it won and for Best Sound. It was nominated for Best Sound. The Wiz, 1978, directed by Sidney Lumet, starring Diana Ross as Dorothy, Michael Jackson, the Scarecrow, and Nipsey Russell, the Tin Man. Richard played the Wizard of Oz. And the film received 4 Oscar nominations. And I'm going to run through this part pretty quick. I'm going to talk fast. So what happened this day in history? Goldfinger premiered in London. On this date, the 17th, in 1964. This film was the fastest grossing movie in movie history when it was released and entered in the Guinness Book of World Records. Aston Martin, which I don't have yet, was initially reluctant to part with 2 of their cars for the production. The producers had to pay for that car, but after the success of the movie, the company never had to spend money on a car again. And the producers wanted Orson Welles to play Goldfinger. He was portly, just like the guy whose name I don't have handy. Who played Goldfinger. I believe when he spoke, his dialogue was not understandable and had to be looped, or was, dubbed as a better word. But Wells was too expensive. I bet Wells would kind of regretted that. This movie was so popular that some theaters were holding showings 24 hours a day to meet the demand. What else happened on this day? TV series Dragnet premieres December 16th, 1951. And ladies and gentlemen, the story you are about to hear is true. Only names have been changed to protect the innocent. So before we take off right now, and we'll finish some of this stuff next week, we're going to have a very special guest in the form of a pre-recorded segment from the Ron Siegal show that was broadcast yesterday on KMET. Sometimes I have to do these things in order to force myself into talking about reverse mortgages because I have so much fun doing the other things. So stick with us. Right after this, there will be myself and Ron Siegal, the great Ron Siegal from the Ron Siegal Home and Finance Show. So we'll see you next week, which will be, Christmas Eve.
Eve.
And
Who's our guest?
hopefully we'll have our guest as Grandpa from Grandpa Speaks. And please have a great, wonderful holiday season with your family and friends. Merry Christmas and have a great new year. Stay safe and productive. Bye-bye. Hi, this is Jay from The Educated Retirement, wanting to thank absolutely everybody and have a happy and wonderful holiday season.
This is Grandpa. I want to say happy holidays to everybody. We pray that you have a wonderful time. We pray that you be healthy and get back with your family one more time. So happy holidays to you from Grandpa.
This is Daryl McCants with the West Coast Business Review, wishing all of you a happy holiday season and a happy new year. Thank you for listening every Wednesday at 3 p.m. And a shout out to the team there at KMET.
Oh, come.
Hey, Kaplan is in the house. We haven't talked to you since we heard that the new lending limit for the FHA reverse mortgage, $970,800.
Right.
Wow, that's a big number.
Yeah, it's been going up pretty much continuously.
Okay, now what I want
Year
to
by
do is
year.
I want to dig into the confusion of that.
Yes.
So does that mean that if I have a $2 million house, that I could come to you and say, Jay, I want that FHA reverse mortgage, and I'm assuming I qualify and I'm 75 years old and I qualify for the 50% loan to value. Can I then go and get that $970,000 loan from you?
No.
But they said it's 970, Jay.
That's the number that is used in the equations to figure out what your loan amount will and can, or I should say can be. Okay. So they're looking at a total price of a home now as higher than it was last year, or it's going to change the first of the year. So on the first of the year, it's going up to that new number. That new number will mean more people will be able to get more cash if their home is worth higher than it was or has been this year. And the equation is still, rule of thumb anyway, about 50%, although with the rates where they are now, it's probably above 50%. And I say probably because each and every person is a little different. It's going to go by, of course, the value of the home, which is now going to be more.
Josh, you and I are a lot different. So
Yeah.
I just throw that out there.
We used to be pretty close to the same, but I lost a lot of that. Anyway, the price of the home, and that factor is going to be better now as the price goes up. The other is your age, which most people are aging. So it's going to be different based on each age, the price of your property and the interest rate. And right now the interest rates are very, very low. So I can't imagine it ever being better than it is right now.
So all that 970, if as a simple guy and all that stuff you just told us, Jay, which is all absolutely correct. But with all of that being said, what I really know is that $970,800 is the amount that gets put into the equation that I don't understand how to figure out, and I have to call you to tell me what it is.
Yeah, and basically, to simplify things, because like you say, we're simple people.
Absolutely.
If your property is worth closer to that higher number, you're going to be able to have more in your cash or line of credit. The benefit will be higher.
So if I have a $1 million house, and just for a rule of thumb, we don't know what the exact will be, but I could probably get a loan for $500,000. 450,000.
Yeah, and that's
435?
going to be slightly over the 50% that we talked about because the limit is a little slightly less than $1 million. So yes, the answer
So
to your
roughly it's
question is yes.
So the 970 times 50%, 400 and
Yes.
485, something like that, give or take. Now that we're not going to use exacts because we're just trying to use a rule of thumb. Because here's the issue: I know over the next 2 weeks, just because I've been tracking you on your phones. Oh no, that's Facebook and Google that do that, right? So I know that you're going to be seeing a lot of people between Christmas and New Year's and holiday parties and time off with family, friends, coworkers, whatever. And you might even come across some elderly people, right? And some of them, unfortunately, may have some cash flow difficulties, right? Or their equity rich and cash poor, and they're in their golden years, right? So all that is just kind of givens, right? So they may be saying, you know something, I got this house for an $800,000 house, and I owe nothing on it, and I'm eating dog food. Do you have any ideas? Right? A reverse mortgage, if you're old enough, and you might be able to get somewhere right around $400,000 in availability.
Right.
And what you need is a consultation.
Right. And availability means just that. You're taking the money, as Ron Siegal would say, that's buried in your backyard in a coffee can, and you're actually bringing it above, right? He used this word for older people, above ground, so that it's available. It's liquid. That's all it is. You're not particularly losing a great deal of equity. And as far as that 50% limit, I mean, this program is to help people either when they're in the need or to help people mitigate risk if they're not in need. And they meaning, the entire system doesn't want you using your last penny.
And you know something? Here's the sad story. And I know it's a holiday time, but I always like to give you solutions as well. So the sad story is last week or the week before, I consulted with a gentleman, and his parents are elderly. They live out of state. They've got a home that's $400,000 in value, and they have no loan on it. Dad gets sick a few years ago. They go through all of their life savings in medical and care and look to get a reverse mortgage, and they can't because the property doesn't qualify under the FHA guidelines. It's a condo. What do you do? Right? So they're looking at this. They've got some challenges going on in their life. And had they been more proactive and taken out a reverse mortgage when the property did qualify several years ago, wow, they wouldn't have had this issue right now. Now they're looking for solutions. We've given them some solutions. We understand the solutions. But here's the idea is the reverse mortgage is not what a lot of people think. And I see the news all the time. It's the mortgage of last opportunity. That's not it. It's the mortgage for planning. And we're going to talk about that with Jay Kaplan when I come back. We're going to talk about how a reverse mortgage can interact with taxes. A reverse mortgage can interact with taxes in retirement. That's an interesting subject that I found this morning. So how do reverse mortgages interact with retirement? A lot of seniors, they've got some pretty highly appreciated properties. They've got highly appreciated homes. Many of them have been there for a long time, right? And so what are they going to do with the property when they've got all they're equity rich and cash poor? That's a big question because, when I'm going to tell you right now, Jay, you've been in lending for at least since the last century, maybe a little more than that.
I was going to say a little over 400 years.
In all the years that you're doing loans, would it be fair to say that you prefer lending money to people who want money as opposed to people who need money?
Absolutely. But it is a good feeling, as you know, when somebody has a need to be able to help cure that situation. That's always a good thing. But want is, want instead of need is a much better way to go.
Yeah. So, and that's the biggie right there. So you want to make sure that you're acting when you choose, not when someone else does. But look at this scenario. It's on Market Watch. Describes a scenario in which a reverse mortgage loan can provide benefit on taxes for senior homeowners in retirement. According to Bill Bishop, tax columnist, many seniors own hugely appreciated homes but are short of cash. Inflation makes things worse, and it doesn't look like it's going to get better anytime soon. An unwelcome side effect of owning a hugely appreciated home is the fact that selling the property to raise cash can trigger a taxable gain well in excess of the federal home sale gain exclusion break, $500,000 for people filing jointly, $250,000 for unmarried individuals. Holding on to a residence as appreciated in a pronounced way can be very beneficial to an older American's tax bill due to basis step-up rule. We know that. This rule involves the way that a home's value interacts with the lives of the homeowners. If you're married and your spouse predeceases you, the basis of the portion of the home owned by your departed mate, typically 50%, gets stepped up to fair market value. This usually removes half of the appreciation that has occurred over the years from the federal income tax rolls. Jay and I are not tax advisors.
No.
Right? We
That's
we
correct.
recommend a go get tax advice. We
just
are
pay
tax
taxes.
questioners.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
We understand enough about taxes to say this could be a problem. Here's a possible solution. Let's bring in a CPA to chat about this. Right?
Yeah.
Is that-
Oh,
is that a fair statement?
absolutely. Or a tax advisor.
Tax
they
advisor.
don't- Yeah.
Now, if you've got that highly appreciated property and you don't owe a lot on it, Jay, can I get a reverse mortgage on it?
Of course.
Right? I can. Now, the scenario I talked about before the break, that was an FHA loan, and it was a condo complex that was non-warrantable.
Yeah. And I don't mean to break in because I know you've got specific things, but non-warrantable is one thing. Most condominium projects will probably be warrantable.
Right.
And sometimes it takes a little more work, but I'm the one and people on my team, as from you, do the work for you
Right.
and get it warrantable.
Yeah. So this one, they had a problem with the reserves and collecting of their HOAs and all that.
Yeah.
So posed a problem, right? So went through the process. It's not eligible, but there's other solutions. But for the most part, we can go and talk and help liberate
Mhm.
some of that equity. And it then is going to be, you don't have to take that tax hit. Now we know for certain that before you take the tax hit, call me, 800-306-1990.
Always.
Now here's Jay, you're gonna love that. I don't think you've heard me use this line. So when anybody passes, there are 3 groups that get your stuff: LO, CH, and IRS. Those are the 3 groups that get it. Now,
CH, I'm guessing, is children.
not charitable.
All right, charitable.
LO is loved ones.
Love to. Okay, so that covers all of
Right.
those. But we don't want to talk about the.
So now, only 2 out of 3. You can do it only 2 out of 3 if you want. Now, if you only have to do 2 out of those 3, loved ones, charitable organization, or IRS, which is the one that you want to avoid? Pretty simple, right? IRS. Now, if that's you, go to rsralpha3taxguard.com. rsralpha3taxguard.com. Josh will put that up on the screen. So if you're watching us on ronsiegelradio.tv or any of our socials, rsralpha3taxguard.com. Very short form. Take you right over to a quick video that we did on a radio broadcast. Taxes are optional. And we show you how to do that in a legal way using a 94-year-old tax code. Okay, so, and again, I'm not the tax guy. I interviewed him. But now let's go back to what we're talking about here with Jay Kaplan. Right? So we want to get some of that liquidity. We want to liberate some of the money. We've worked hard for that money.
Yeah, we do.
And you worked a whole lifetime to get that. Let's just go back to that $800,000 house
Okay.
with a $400,000 reverse mortgage if you qualify, right? And you're 75 years old. That means, that fits you, right, Jay?
That's me.
So I don't even have a calculator here, but if I take $400,000 divided by the 25 years probably that you have left on this side of the sidewalk, right? That's going to give us about 16,000. That's more than most people's Social Security.
That's
right?
for sure. Yeah,
And that's not counting
absolutely.
any appreciation,
Correct.
right? Because you can
Correct.
take that money out and it's going to, well, Jay's told us over time. I don't understand how it all works. He's the guru, but I understand enough to say, Jay, does that line of credit, that $400,000 line of credit, grow over the next 25 years?
Yes, it does. So it's going to be bigger next year than it is today.
So over 25 years, it's going to even be bigger.
You'll have that much more that you can use should you want to use it.
So over that next 25 years that we're probably on this planet, right? You're going to have more than that new Social Security, extra Social Security.
Oh, yeah.
Think about that concept. Now, now when you liberate money from your equity using the reverse mortgage loan, is that a taxable event?
No.
No tax.
No taxes on that.
Okay, so let's go back to my first premise here.
Yeah.
Can I give that money to my loved ones?
You can do whatever you want with that cash.
So we've got 2 out of 3 again, right?
Absolutely.
Loved
You
ones,
can-
charitable organization, and only to the IRS if you choose to.
Yeah, and you can take care of yourself too with health care and that kind of thing.
Right.
Which,
So
and it'll keep growing. And as Ron Siegal has told us many times, and what I learned from Ron is that the equity in California is huge, and I'm sorry, the appreciation is huge, and that should be well ahead of any amounts that you take.
So let's talk about that, because over the holiday period, we're going to come in contact with a lot of parents and grandparents. This may be appropriate for them. And one of the things that the parents want to do is they want to make sure they leave money behind for their kids. Some kids say, I don't want mom and dad to spend my legacy. I wanted my mom to spend her last dime with her last breath. She didn't accomplish that, unfortunately. But we're going to talk about, when we come back, I want to talk to Jay about the legacy issue.
Oh, yeah.
Are we going to leave more or less to our kids when we use a reverse mortgage loan? In the studio, he's with us. He's in studio with us right now. There was a long time that you weren't coming into the studio. You had some health issues, so we're glad to have you back with us.
Yeah, actually, yeah, it was
You're here, we're gonna
not long,
celebrate.
and then before that, I had health issues.
Yeah.
Earlier in the year, and so
Glad to have him back. So let's talk about equity, legacy, and simple math, because I'm a simple guy. So just foundation number, Orange County, California, over the last 62 years, I think the number that I saw most recently says that we appreciate at 5.3%. LA County is about the same, not exactly. LA County is a little bit less than Orange County. Riverside County, you're at about 4.95%. So if we look at all the counties that are right here around us, can we just go with simple man math, simple woman math, and say 5%? Okay, that's an easy number. I'm a simple guy.
yeah, and it's conservative, so it'll
Conservative.
cover everything.
So we talked about earlier about this theoretic property that we have. It's $800,000 in value, and we own nothing on it. We're going to get a reverse mortgage loan, $400,000. Not talking about how much you can get right now, what you can do with it, any of that kind of thing. We're not talking about that right now. Just talking legacy. So your property, if the last 62 years holds true, your property is going to grow at $40,000 a year. Is that fair?
Very.
You've got $400,000 in this reverse mortgage loan that you're not going to you're not going to be paying the loan on it. You're not making a loan payment unless you want to.
Of course you can.
Right? If you want to, you can do it. If you don't want to, don't do it. Doesn't matter. It's all up to you. No one's going to give you any thoughts either way. That $400,000 loan, is it fair to say that between the loan and the mortgage insurance and everything else, 3%, 4%, 5%, right? Let's say high. Let's say high.
Well, yeah, you're getting awful high there, but go ahead.
Can we go 4%?
Yeah, I think that's, yeah.
Okay, so at 4%, that means your loan is going to grow at $16,000 a year.
Right.
Right?
Right.
We're not doing the compounding and all that. I know that those numbers are going to be a little bit different. Right? So your property grew at 400, your loan grew at 16.
Right, 40. Yeah.
I'm sorry, your loan grew, your property grew at 40.
Well, I like your number though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so your legacy grew by $24,000.
Right. And a lot of times people think of legacy as only your property. But legacy is really everything that you're going to pass on. And property is a major part of it if you have property. And so is your bank account. And so are all of your 401s and your other investment accounts.
Yeah, that $400,000 that you took, you probably didn't go and buy a new boat, a new car. Well, boats right now you can sell if you buy them right. You can sell them for more than you paid for. But that's not normally the case. But, you're either buying investments or you're not taking money out of your IRA, or you're taking it out of your IRA strategically. You're not using other cash flow to live on, or something along those lines.
Right. And in a down year, instead of taking it out of your investments or IRAs or 401s, you take it out of your line of credit instead. That won't happen very often. There was just a paper out by Phil Walker and Sachs and his brother, speaking of wealth, housing wealth, and mitigating risk. You'll mitigate that risk a great deal on those investments, that if the few times there is a down year, you leave as much money as you can in your investments and you take it instead from the line of credit.
Sure.
Overall, you've got so much more
legacy.
At the end.
Take the money, talk to your financial planner and your accountant. Take what you need to from your RMD, right? We don't want you to get those big penalties, but take just the bare minimum, live off of this, and you might even want to buy more investment items when the market's down. Or would you rather buy when the market is up or when the market is down?
Let me think about that, but not too.
I don't think we even need to get the Jeopardy music for that one. Right? We don't need the Jeopardy. We know the answer to that one. Right? We want to buy when the market is down. Some of us tend to do it the other way around, but that's not by choice. Right? But the bottom line right there, it's really simple. You're wanting to take that money and use it strategically. And if you don't have the liquidity, you can't be strategic.
Correct.
Right? It's just that simple. Right? So the concept here is talk to your financial people, but I'm going to throw this out there just because I can, Jay.
Go, throw it.
A lot of people are going to tell you, don't do a reverse mortgage. That's the worst thing in the whole world. And the question I'm going to say is, how many have they done? How many have they studied? How many families do they know that have been hurt by them? How many families do they know that have been helped by them? And I can answer every one of those questions. Well, maybe not precise. I've helped a lot of families with them.
Right.
You've helped more.
Because that's the only
older.
Thing I do.
He's older, so he's
you do
more.
a lot. Yeah, you do a lot more variety.
No, but we've helped between us. We've helped a lot of families.
Absolutely.
They've all, once they understand them. I personally, again, Jay, you've done more than I have. I have not had one family come to me and say, "I wish I had not done that." Not one. Even when I've dealt with the kids, helping them liquidate the reverse mortgage, I haven't had anybody that's come to me and said, "Boy, that was the worst thing I ever could have done." Have you had that?
Never.
No, I mean, and so the people that don't understand them, of course they don't like them because they don't know what they're talking about. By definition, they don't understand them.
Right.
Right? So tell those people to call me and let me explain it to them. Let me answer every one of the negative questions they might have. Every one of them. I'm not going to hold back on any, because having done so many of them, and I've dealt with it from one side that very, very few people have ever dealt with. I was actually the co-successor trustee for my parents, and they had a reverse mortgage, so I helped liquidate it. Right? So I understand that part of it too, from talking to the lender, the servicer, and how cordial they are, how nice they are, how helpful they are.
Yeah.
I don't know how the heck they found out that my mom died sooner than I did, but that was a different story. Not quite. It was pretty close though. But you know, they're telling you the options that you have to liquidate the loan, because there's 3 options for liquidating. Right? They explained all of them to us.
Right.
I knew them obviously because I've shared that with many people, but I wanted to hear it from what the servicer's telling people.
Yeah.
And
you have time to do that.
There you go, Jay. I mean, because I tell people, now the reverse mortgage is not quite the same, but my counsel to anybody who's lost a loved one is do absolutely nothing that you don't have to do with the estate for a year. Wait a full year till you do anything, because the likelihood is that if you do some decisions that you make before that time period, you're not going to be happy with down the road, right? Because you made them in a poor state of mind.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Distressed and grief, and you've got other things that you're dealing with emotionally, physically, financially. So do as little as only do the things you have to for a year. With ours, what we did is, I mean, they sent me a note saying, do you know what you want to do? And I said, no. And so they said, okay, well, we'll talk to you in a month. Okay. Call me in a month. Do you know what you want to do? No. We were working on some ideas. Well, we got to the 6-month mark. And do you know what you're going to do? Yes, we have an idea. This is what we're going to do. And okay, we're going to give you an extension.
Yeah, that's almost automatic.
So they gave us an extension. So even though the only thing that is nerve-wracking is the minute the last person on the loan passes, that's an event of default.
Well, yeah,
technically. So technical default. So that you get that notice is filed because the lien holder wants to make sure that they're securing whatever they're entitled to, and they're on the record with you.
Right.
But it's not an issue. It's not like they're coming and knocking down your door.
Correct.
It's a great product. And as you talk to mom, dad, grandma, and grandpa during the holidays, they're getting up on age. They've got equity. It should be part of a conversation to look forward, because, you want to make sure, and I know that you don't want to talk about trusts at this time of year, but they should be in place.
Absolutely.
Maybe it's a good time of the year to update them, right? You might have had a baby during the year. You might have gotten married during the year. If you're a beneficiary, that might need to be addressed, right? Where do you want your stuff to go to? Yeah. Maybe you have a new grandkid right during the year, right? Yeah. Great grandkid. I'm not there yet, right? Right, but those are all conversations that we want to be.
And I don't want to sound too much like that guy for Hair Club for men, but I don't only talk about reverse mortgages. I have one.
Yeah, and I don't talk about Hair Club for men because I don't have hair. Right?
And you look just fine without it. We don't all need it.
Yes, well, some of us. I have a face for radio. That's. Although I can say that about Josh because he's never on air with us. So I got the face for radio, but I'm on video every day anyway. So it's a great product, and I don't want to harp it on debt. You don't, you're not losing your property. You're not giving up any control of your property. You want to sell it, refinance it, give it away.
Yeah, and so many studies have shown that those people with a reverse mortgage usually end up with more of a legacy to pass on.
More stuff to give away to the three acronyms.
And we've talked a lot about different things of investments, other property. We've talked about a lot of that, but it's all there.
So we didn't talk about, we get that $400,000, Jay. What can I do with that?
Anything you want.
Okay, so we can have a party at Josh's.
We absolutely, but the thing is,
$400,000 party.
do we want to invite Josh?
He doesn't want to invite us. That's the question right there. He'll point us toward the Mandalay Bay or one of those. There's a club, Thoughts. I don't know, something along those. I don't know. I'm probably too old. You and I are probably too old for that, Jay. But they open after we go to bed. So,
What do you mean? They open at 5 in the evening?
That's about it. But the bottom line is, you can do whatever you want with that.
Yeah.
If you want to help your kids buy a house, you can do it. You want to enjoy that money.
Yeah.
While you're here to see it, give it to your kids and grandkids.
Yeah. Pay for your own health care if you can, instead of asking your children for it. Protect your investments. Increase your investments. All of that good stuff.
All kinds of good stuff right there. So if you want more information about one of my favorite loans, because it helps so many people, the home equity conversion mortgage, better known as
Call Rob.
the reverse mortgage. Give me a call at 800-306-1990.